Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Real CFO Project. My name is Chad Brown, and today I'm just going to do a solo episode to hit on something that I think is vitally important to all of us, not just from a financial standpoint, but just in life in general. And it relates to procrastination, right? When is the last time you actually did something early? Be honest with yourself. Oftentimes it's rare, right? Um, at least for some of us at different seasons and different times in our lives, deadlines that you might have at work or dentist visits, maybe putting off mowing the lawn. You know, the truth is, procrastination, it's normal, uh, but it could cost you, right? It could cost you, financially big time. So we're going to relate this more to how procrastinating around your finances and your taxes can cost you. But um, I'm curious, why do we procrastinate? You know, um, I think for me and a lot of others that I'm around, procrastination is we look for short term comfort, right? We might have a project or a deadline or something um, that we know we need to do, but we can put it off, right? That deadline is not quite here. Uh, and it's not something we really want to do or we aren't passionate about doing it. It's just that task that needs to get done. So oftentimes we kind of neglect that and push that to the side in order to find comfort, do something that's more fun, go out Friday night, maybe stay up too late, right? Sleep in on Saturday morning, those comfort things. It's odd to me. I was kind of doing some looking around because I'm going through seasons where I'm asking myself, why am I putting this off? Why am I putting this off? And I ran across something very interesting that 20% of the adults in the U.S. are chronic procrastinators, and that's just crazy. So uh, I didn't think it'd be nearly that high. And chronic is, it's very regularly. They're consistently doing it. And, um, it's not really about time. It's more about the emotional um, piece of it, right? You have that emotion, that comfort, that whatever. So you push that thing off. So anyway, that's procrastination. Now I want to kind of drill into on the financial side. 30% of Americans file their taxes the last 2 weeks of the filing season, typically before April 15th, the last 2 weeks before April 15th. Now, even more, add on top of that is how many extensions are filed. So we're pushing it off another 6 months. And then that 6 months gets pushed back and we're waiting to the last 2 weeks to do it. I fall in that trap, just like many others. But one thing that many small business owners are missing is that uh, they're skipping their quarterly estimates until it's too late, right? The IRS requires that we pay our taxes on a regular basis. And if we're self-employed, we're not having withholdings from wages in many cases, and we're going to have a large tax bill. They want us to pay that regularly over the course of the year. So quarterly estimates are kind of the expectation. If you don't hit them, you could be exposed to penalties and interest that can, pile up and be pretty significant um, in the end if we wait too long. So uh, we also see it when it comes to individuals doing uh, or failing to or procrastinating on tax planning, right? We're entering the fourth quarter of the year now, and it won't be long. We'll hit December 31st and then January of 2026. And now there's a lot of tax planning and strategies that we just can't take. But so many people come in and get surprised because one, they didn't expect such a large tax liability. Two, as I mentioned earlier, they haven't been making estimated tax payments, right? When all of that is very easy. The problem is we go back to that comfort. It's sometimes more comfortable to not go to the doctor, to get that test to see if you got that disease, right? I don't know about it, so it's not affecting me, right? But you might feel a little off. Same with taxes. I don't want to deal with the IRS. We'll see how it flushes out at the end of the year. I can plan for it then. I'm not going to do it now. I don't want that certainty of knowing that I'm going to owe something. Whatever it may be, we consistently push things like that off. And just think, if we were to take these items, say, you know what, I'm going to be proactive and disciplined and not procrastinate on so many of these major issues, that I'm going to have more structure. I'm going to have more certainty, right? So now, what does it cost? Here is an example. There's many tax strategies that you can implement prior to the end of the year, where maybe you're reimbursing yourself for some of the business expenses that you incurred. Maybe you paid some out of your personal pocket, so the business can reimburse those for you. You can invest in additional equipment or things you need for your business that, if done so by the end of the year, are going to significantly benefit you from a tax perspective. Looking at financial statements throughout the year, making sure they're accurate and things are in line, so you know kind of where you're at. Those are very important things, and it can cost you hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax. So just be cognizant of that. Get yourself uncomfortable and start taking action on things that maybe in the past you've procrastinated on, that maybe it's because it costs too much money or you don't want to invest the time and energy in it. But in the end, if done right and you're being proactive and you're not procrastinating, you're going to get a return on that investment of time and energy you devote to that. So anyway, how do we solve that? Right? How do we solve that procrastination, especially around our financial well-being? It's like, break down those financial tasks into small actions, right? Just reach out to your CPA and say, I'd like to have a quarterly meeting to go understand where I may be exposed in terms of my tax liability this year. Just start, right? And they'll reach back out to you, schedule a time. Set earlier deadlines. Don't keep saying, I'll do it in September, I'll do it in October, I'll do it in November. Set a drop dead. I'm going to do this, right? So by this time, I've done all the heavy lifting, and I don't even have to worry about any deadlines or rushing up against the year end to make these decisions, make these purchases, implement the strategies. So have an accountability partner, right? Somebody that you network with or you're in business with, whether it's your CPA, spouse, somebody in a mastermind group that you're in. Have an accountability partner that asks you questions about your financial well-being. Where are you at? And you can hold each other accountable. That's one of the best ways to do it. I know I do it from a financial perspective. I do it from a business operations perspective. I do it from a fitness perspective. And so find an accountability partner. That's very important. Then automate some of your decisions. Payroll. That's something that most businesses have in place, automated payroll or a system there. But estimated tax payments, that's one they don't. So what is that estimate? You might not know exactly what your exposure is going to be, but at least you're paying something in if you have a pretty good idea of being profitable. Mark your calendars, sort of put things on autopilot as much as you can. And then refrain from saying, don't think that taxes are a negative thing. I know we all hate to pay them, but we don't hate them enough to be proactive and do strategy and planning. So don't say, taxes, I'm just going to put that off. Think, I need to handle this. I need to put in the efforts now so I can save 10, 15, $20,000. Now, what could I use that money for? Turn that into a comfort situation. Maybe I can use that money for a vacation. Maybe I can buy my wife that new car, or maybe I can help my kids pay their tuition, those sorts of things. So don't, put negative thoughts in your mind like, ugh, taxes. Say, I'm going to know with certainty, know what I'm going to be exposed to. I'm going to take actions now to, um, reduce or minimize that exposure, and think of the things that reduction or that minimization, those savings, can be used to better enhance your life and those around you. So, we can either be proactive or, not, right? If you're going to be reactive, you're going to consistently April 15th or September 15th, October 15th, whatever that deadline is for you to file your taxes, you're going to be surprised, right? You're going to end up spending more money on taxes than the guy who spent half an hour, a quarter, an hour, a quarter, having a conversation, exploring ideas to save that. So don't procrastinate. It's costing you in the end. I got a client that's a new client we've been working with. We're wrapping up their tax returns here at the last minute, and due to some of the decisions they made, they had a very successful year, and they're going to have a much greater exposure than they did in when they filed their 2023 taxes. We had a conversation, and they're shocked. I'm like, well, there's not a whole lot that you can do now, right, to plan that. We could maybe do some retirement deferral options right now, but cash flow is very difficult and challenging right now. They can't take the $50,000, $60,000 and roll up into a deferral strategy that is available still for 2024 because they don't have the cash flow. So they're in this situation because they didn't have this conversation in September, October of 2024 when things could have been done. So in general, procrastination impacts us all. We're human, right? But when it comes to your financial future, you really need to flip that switch, flip that mindset, and get that thought of doing nothing right now is more comfortable, because it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you hard, or have the potential to bite you hard 6 months, 7 months, 8 months down the road when you're not ready for it. Don't wait until December to do financial planning or tax planning. Let's talk now. Build a tax savings plan, or meet with your CPA. Ask them, say, let's meet. Can we meet? I want to know where we stand. I want certainty. I want to plan and mitigate some of these taxes. If you don't have somebody, or they're not willing to communicate with you, or they don't have time, reach out to me. I'll give you a very simple blueprint to execute some base level strategies. We can have a conversation and just a brain dump. Where are you at? What are you doing? What's your income flow looking like? How's your business going? What can you do to minimize some taxes? That's very easy. But the thing is, you have to get that mindset right and say, I am going to take proactive action to optimize my financial well-being through effective planning and reduction of my overall tax exposure. I know I'm preaching a little bit, but I see it all the time. Procrastination is real when it comes to fitness, health, just life in general, and we're human. But you can control it. Shift your mindset, stop procrastinating, be proactive, save yourself some money. You're going to feel better. You're going to have more certainty. And I guarantee the anxiety and everything around your financial situation, especially when it comes to the IRS and taxes, is going to be greatly diminished because you'll know. And that's very important. So anyway, appreciate you guys listening. I thought that was very important, especially given the time of the season that we're in. We're entering the fourth quarter. Now's the time to take action if you're serious about minimizing your tax exposure and optimizing your financial well-being.